In this world, angels live among us. Many great invincible beings of immeasurable power, a bridge between us and the gods. These creatures are not as you might imagine them. While some are human-like in their appearance, most are alien. A sitting mountain, a giant boar, a hovering sphere. Each of the angels provides a powerful boon to the surrounding area and its inhabitants. They do not speak to us. They do not move. We built our world around them. They shaped our cultures. We rely on them. Until something dark came along. Now, one by one, the angels have been slain. The people of the lands around them slaughtered. A wave of death is spreading across our world. Only a few places remain as a final bastion of life. Only a few against an endless horde of oblivion. And within these few, a single band of unlikely heroes, bound by forces beyond their understanding. In this world, there is only a single word that describes their soul-bound connection.
Thrakk, you were trying to do something. As you wander off from the other members of the group, a few seconds later, Hard kind of follows you. His robes swishing through the inch of water that sort of pools around the mirror, and then you step out of that and a little further outside of the immediate grove which holds the mirror, and you have a plan. What are you trying to do?
Well, I am attempting to change the protection spell that hides this place enough so that our enemy can't get through it and destroy everything in it.
Okay. Okay. Make me an Arcana check. Just to see what your understanding of this spell is.
Yeah. Just to confirm, I still have advantage in here on Arcana checks, right?
Yes.
I believe that was... Yeah, okay. Glad you remembered that. I got a 21.
A 21. Yeah, this is old magic, but it is magic that was put in place by someone else who at least somewhat understood the weave and that approach to casting spells. The magic is not too dissimilar. It's like a very rudimentary version of the sort of superposition magic that you've got going on in the tower, in that this is a forest within a forest, but it is layered over the top of it. But it isn't quite exactly the same thing. It's kind of an illusory mimicry of superposition. Really, it's just a very powerful piece of magic that was placed here. The sort of unique aspect of this is that it's a piece of magic that requires one to be well, not one, but several people could have cast this spell. You get the sense, you've got a 21 here, so you get the sense that actually probably several people cast this spell, and that they had different strengths when it came to how they approached magic. One of them approached magic in a very physical way, one in a very esoteric way, one in the more sort of plain approach to the arcane, which really is the way that you've been approaching magic. Then there are people that are maybe more druidic in nature, people who are more charismatic in nature in the way that they cast their spells. So there are different ways to cast spells. Mechanically, we look at it as using wisdom, charisma, intelligence. This piece of magic, and however Thrakk wants to understand this, he can, was cast using strength, dex, con, int, whiz, and charisma. To adjust it, you're going to need to be able to either cast spells using all of those different approaches, or find people that can and have, the same sort of group approach this thing. And what I'm essentially saying to you is, to adjust this spell, you're going to have to do a skill check in every single department of ability.
And knowing that my dexterity is not that great, would I, with the knowledge I have about the spell, would I expect that it would be quite difficult? Would I need to be quite adept with all of these checks?
Yes. Layman's terms, you need to be able to precisely weave the magical threads with a dexterity-based check. Now, you could have Hard do one of these checks, since he is here. But I don't think Hard is very dexterous either. He does have... He's quite strong because he's a Goliath. At this point, you've probably surpassed him in intelligence and just sort of your approach to magic. He's not very dexterous either.
Oh, he's likely more dexterous than I am.
Possibly.
So I will motion him over if he can see me.
Yeah, I think he's behind you as you're sort of moving through this forest and processing this or figuring this out, or maybe you're sort of directly interacting with the weave that sits kind of over everything. You're like Neo in the Matrix here, and you're able to attune to it and just sort of, it's probably like a magic eye trick almost, in that you adjust your approach to how you're interfacing with the world, and you're able to see this new frequency, this arcane frequency. And yeah, I think he is just kind of following you, observing you. Every now and then he sort of ponders something of his own or gets distracted by something, but generally speaking, he's just nearby.
Odd. Would you be willing to assist me?
I can do that, yes. What are you trying to do?
I am attempting to save this place. It is my responsibility. The enemy knows how to get here now.
Right. You're going to cast a spell or something else?
I'm going to alter the spell that already exists, and perhaps, if I can, lay a trap.
The old magics that hold this place together are very powerful. Is this something you are confident you can do? If you change it, you may well stop this creature from being able to access the House of Knowledge, but what if in attempting it you drop the spell altogether?
I think Thrakk sort of stops and he probably takes a couple of minutes to think. I think when he was trained by Hard would ask him these sort of hard questions from a different perspective than Thrakk's. And he's would allow Thrakk to take the time, whatever time he wanted, to just sort of think about it, sometimes for days. And we've sort of fallen back into our old habits. And I think Thrakk thinks about it for quite a while, maybe 5 minutes. And then responds, "You might be right, but if we don't try, this place will be destroyed."
Well, we have no guarantee that this creature knows how to actually access this place. It seems it had no idea how to do it before, just because this other creature explains it, perhaps. Perhaps it is still protected. But if you think it is the right thing to do, you are the one to try, I think.
I don't think we have a choice.
I agree. I think if you believe you have the power to adjust and protect this place, it is a good idea. It may well be the last bastion in this world of life.
Is there anyone else here? Any other adept magic users that you're aware of?
The only creatures here are Fae, there are golems, but no one who is trained in the arcane ways. There are forest spirits, but I think that they will do... they will only be able to help you with it, not cast the magics. But you will have to convince them, of course.
I'm going to reach out to our friend the stag. Can I mentally attempt to speak with him?
Yeah. He's like nearby somewhere as well. He doesn't enter the grove that holds the mirror, but the forest that sits around it. He's been kind of like, every now and then you hear the crunch of leaves and branches as he kind of shuffles and moves through it. Every now and then you catch a piece of a sort of, because you're all picking up on each other's surface thoughts. Every now and then you're catching them from various animals around. I mean, you're just sort of catching a bird and all you hear is fly, 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 but you know, you get that kind of sense from the stag. So yeah, you're definitely aware he's nearby.
So I'll reach out to him mentally and say, "Will you help me defend this place?"
There's a rustle and crunch of leaves as this huge stag with this kind of ethereal glow to it moves around the forest and heads and circles around to where you are. As it gets closer, it says, and again, these are kind of thoughts and feelings as much as they are words, but he says,
Defended how?
I believe the enemy knows how to get here, and I'm attempting to change the weave that protects this place.
you get an immediate sense of fright and fear at the idea of changing this barrier from the phase stag. He says,
The barrier has been in place for forever. How would you change it?
I would attempt to change the weave itself. The weave that protects this place, so that it would confuse our enemy, prevent him from getting in. I also may set a trap for them.
a sense of trepidation from the phase stag. He says,
We have defended this place from interlopers for generations. There are many beings who have tried to corrupt this place, and all of us.
a burst of kind of thoughts from every creature nearby just kind of washes over you. Just a sense of camaraderie and family throughout all of the creatures nearby.
We have worked together to preserve this place. We will not stop now. What would you ask of us?
I need your assistance. This spell is very powerful. It was created by several beings strong in different magical arts. I cannot change it on my own.
This is not something I understand, but part of this forest is ever living. There are spirits within the trees, within the grass, within all of us who dwell here. I shall commune with them. I shall see if they are willing to change.
The thoughts of the phase stag suddenly completely vanish as you see the creature. He's kind of just got like big glowing eyes as he closes his eyes for a moment, and he begins to commune with the forest spirit. Let's see here. You know what? Roll me a d20. First of all. Actually, wait. Roll me a charisma roll from Thrakk. Let's see how much they like you.
Just a basic charisma roll, okay?
Yeah. Just a passive charisma. What's your passive charisma?
Oh, yeah. A 6.
A 6.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
solid 6 there. They
Right.
hate me. I thought we were supposed to be role playing, you know, break away from the life a bit.
It's your worst fear come true. Face Stag rolls a 17 on his persuasion check. When he opens his eyes, you get the sense of his thoughts rushing through to you. Before he even really starts communicating with you, you get the sense that he's got an awkward piece of news to pass to you as he says,
The spirits of this place are ancient and strange. They do not trust outsiders easily. They find you perplexing. They do not understand your plight. They cannot comprehend death. I would ask that you find a way to convince them.
I am not a very persuasive person. I haven't spent a lot of time convincing people of anything.
Then, perhaps, simply state the truth. Perhaps they need not hear your words, but hear your heart.
Thrakk sits on the ground and he begins to quiet his mind, attempting to meditate. He does this sometimes to try to focus on the arcane, the weave, the rivers of and streams of magic that surround us all. But this time, instead, he tries to focus on the thoughts of all the living things around him, not listening to what they say, but connecting with them. He does this for some time, just trying to form a connection before he lets his thoughts and his feelings bleed into that connection. His sense of foreboding at what is coming is his prediction of the end of this place, the end of the last bastion of life on all of Gaia.
roll me a wisdom check, just a basic whiz roll.
An 8.
Yeah, it's tough. You're able to connect with the surface level very easily. You get the sense that the phase stag is almost helping you in this, as the surface thoughts of all of the creatures, you sort of attune to almost the surface thoughts of the trees and the grass and the ivy and some of the flowers and parts of the meadow. There are these additional elements to this place which are a deeper connection with nature that kind of rise up that very base level magic. There are different forms of magic, right? There's the arcane, there's that nature-based stuff, there's whatever the divine stuff of the angel is, that kind of all mix and flow together. The surface level is very easy for you to attain, but sinking deeper into that, there's something turbulent underneath that is stopping you from really connecting with the deeper elements of the forest here. There's something, it's almost like when you sense something on the edge of your vision, and when you turn to look, it's gone. Or like when you see shadows at night and you think there's a person there and you turn and there's nothing. It was just a sort of trick. There are these warring elements, one of them being what you assume to be these kind of nature-based forest spirits, and another one being this turbulent danger. By trying to present the danger and by thinking about it, you're almost attuning with it. On one side of you there are the forest spirits, and on the other there is Mordril and the death of the rest of the planet. You can feel not just the life of this place, but the death of the rest of the world, as this kind of blight is beginning to seep in. The planet isn't dead. There isn't, not in the same way that the other Gaia is, but there is a disease that is spreading and rotting and blighting this place. There are two sides to this. You can choose to you can make this check again, and you can concentrate more on the forest spirits, or you can concentrate more on Mordril if you'd like. You're kind of attuned to both of them at the moment.
I think I would try to attune to Mordril if I could use that to show the forest spirits what's coming.
Okay. Yeah, make me another wisdom check.
Same, an 8.
Another 8. Another infinity
Right.
symbol. You try and attune with this sense of death and this this being that is moving across this world. You get the sense as well that it is heading straight for you, and by you I mean you. You do actually get some kind of feedback here, because you sort of root yourself into the death element as opposed to the life element. Mordril previously was an angel of Kelemvor, who is predominantly an angel of death, a god of death, but there's an element of life to death, and so you actually get a kind of sense of life from Mordril as much as you get a sense of death, and when you feel those two things, you feel them moving towards you. You feel intent from Mordril, and the intent is not to seek this forest, and it is not to seek the members of your party and the Quura, but it is to seek you, the wizard that seems to be at the center of some of the magical elements here. Mordril's current intent is to seek out specifically you, Thrakk, and kill you. in trying to convince the spirits, you now need to make me a persuasion check.
Do I find this out before I try to persuade them?
Well, this is all part of the same thing because you were trying to use
okay.
this to show them the coming threat, right?
Right.
I was just giving you the information that you kind of just osmose information here. This is, by the way, very similar, Cirrus, to what you've been doing when you place your hand on the ground and try and, commune with your own divine beings, or even just source information from, nature itself, is essentially what Thrakk is doing here. But it's weak.
So,
You got a weak connection. You got one bar.
Gotta believe.
So I've been cheating for 3 sessions. I forgot I have 3 levels of exhaustion. So this is disadvantage.
You do. Okay.
10.
10. You'd almost don't get the sense that the forest spirits are even really listening to you, let alone being convinced. You don't get the sense that you're really communing with them at all. I don't think, and this would have to be up to you, you might have some understanding of it from Big Boar, but the way that, for example, Cirrus or Thors or someone would commune, it is a deeply spiritual thing, and it is a thing that they have been practicing at for years and years and years, the majority of their lives. It's meditative, it is a process, and it takes you a long time to attune your body to being able to align yourself with these beings and these spirits in this way. And I just don't think Thrakk has that kind of training. He's very logical. He certainly, you're really kind of brute forcing this, I think, with just being so in touch with magic rather than it being a spiritual connection that you're trying to make. And I think you understand that, your logical brain is aware of that. And you get the sense that you're just not able to really commune with these creatures. You maybe continue to try and maybe sit for a little while longer, but I think you get the sense that you are not connecting with these beings and convincing these forest spirits in any way. You might even, as you drift up, begin to sense the thoughts of the Fey Stag, who is kind of also acknowledging that you just do not seem to be. He's trying to hide those thoughts a little from you, but you get the sense that you are not communing with these spirits, and definitely not convincing them. They do not seem to be on your side with this.
The moment I realise that Mordriel's coming here to kill me, I break off my connection. I look to Hard and say, He's not coming here to destroy this place. He's coming here for me. We have to leave. I'm putting this place in danger. And I say, where is the tower?
The tower is nearby, but Mordriel is trying to kill everything. He is trying to kill you and this forest and me and destroy the tower. And why do you believe he is coming specifically to find you?
I just tried to... I tried to show the spirits of this forest his intention, and in so doing I discovered he wants me. He sees me as a threat.
Thors speaks often of communing with the angels and the gods. You are communing with Mordriel. This seems dangerous. I trust what you are planning. At this point, I believe you are the only chance we have of survival in any way, but perhaps you should approach this creature with caution. It is old. It is powerful in ways we cannot understand. These angels, the idea that one of them is conscious. It is thinking like you and I, but it is old. It is powerful and it is something new. It is a dragon or a Dracolich or something. You must be very careful. Perhaps its understanding of the weave will trump your own, and then, for all we know, it can take control of you or kill you from afar. I have seen things by lesser men, let alone a being of this power. You must be very cautious.
Yes, Odd. I will be more cautious in the future, but right now we must go. I've already started gathering my things, and I'm... Which way is the tower?
The tower is this way.
He points sort of north-ish. If you imagine you came in from the south of the meadow, the tower appears to be on the other end. He says,
But what of the forest?
If I leave, and he knows I've left, I think he'll come for me instead of them.
All right.
I don't think I can protect this place. I think it's beyond me, especially in my current state.
Very well. Gather your party then. I will head to the tower. It is just north. Just here.
kind of points just in a direction and gives you one last look and glances over to the Fey Stag. You get a sense of like worry and dread coming from the Fey Stag, a sort of like, what are we going to do? But it's not too intense. The Fey Stag's kind of has a really strong sense of will, and you just get these kind of surface thoughts of trepidation, but Hard sort of heads off in the direction of where the tower is.
I'll try to send a mental message to all three of my party members, relaying the information that I have gotten that Mordriel wants to kill me, and that is his current objective, and my thought is to leave this place as I'm putting it in danger by being here.
Speaking of the other party members then, what is everyone else doing? The last we saw of Sia, he was like heading away from the Myre, potentially leaving the whole forest, I think. I can't remember if you were going down that path. Cirrus left Jildan to talk with the Myre. Jildan did, and ended up speaking with a fiendish creature instead. So what are you three doing? Where are you guys? Start with Sia, since he kind of wandered off first.
Well, I wouldn't have gone too far, but I did walk into the woods proper, away from the clearing with the Myre. I don't necessarily have a plan in mind. I'm simply just walking, looking around, and two things, I suppose. I know this place exists in what was called superposition. However, I was just looking to see how far it went, and just taking this time to keep to myself
Okay. I need you to make me a saving throw. Make me a wisdom saving throw. I just need to figure out what the DC is. Make me a whiz save anyway.
Very well. A natural 1.
Oh, wow. That's a fail.
Really?
Now this is going to be interesting because you should be feeling a sense of dread, but I don't know if you do feel dread.
No, not really. Gas, perhaps.
Yeah, I think you get a weird feeling that falls over you that I don't know if you could explain, because it would just feel bizarre, right? You'd maybe just feel like you were unwell.
Any change is kind of what I'm looking for. I'm not trying to leave. My eyes do the work before my body does.
Yeah.
I look before I go. So if I feel something strange or untoward is happening, then I think I'll halt, because my intention is not to leave this realm, wherever or whatever it may be. I'm just on a bit of a walk.
Yeah.
So I think I turn on a heel if I can, once things start to feel fucky.
You turn around and there is a drow standing behind you. This is a drow that you recognize, but not one that you will have seen for a very long time. I think when you first came to the tower that you lived at after Menzo Branton, there was a monk here who was who was only there for a couple of years before they went out on their own sort of independent approach to seeking. And she is older than you. She is someone that you would recognize. Her name is Rauva, R-A-U-V-A, and she has one eye, and one side of her face is very burned. There is a lot of scarring that runs down the right-hand side of her face. One of her ears is pretty much gone, mutilated, and she has no hair. She shaves the rest of her head. She wears very little, even though there are patches of her skin that are very badly burned. And then she has these very intricate and thin tattoos that run down her skin, and they shift and change in the way that they move when they're in moonlight. However, being in the daylight here, they just look like sets of lines and stuff that run across most of her body. It's like a full body piece that runs from her neck all the way down to her toes. And she is, she's older than you, but you know, due to the sort of nature of elfish and drow aging, she doesn't appear to be too much older than you. But this is a person who, when you first joined your group, when you first joined the Seekers, they gave you to her. And she didn't really teach you much, but she showed you around and introduced you to what your new way of life was going to be. And we're talking like basic stuff, like where you get food from, when you're going to be getting up, where you're going to go, what the fuck is going on, you know, what this place does and what they're going to potentially teach you. And as you get this bizarre feeling, this weird sensation that rushes over you. It's partly just a strange wave of feelings, and partly you get the sense of like that blockage. You know, I don't know if you've even been noticing fear at all during this campaign, or how Sierra's been, you know, in moments where normally someone would feel fear regardless of how they approach it, whether there has just been like a blockage or a twist or whatever, but there would be something that you would definitely notice here. However, as you turn around, Ralva is there, and I think you got a natural one here, so yeah, I think you just see her standing there. She looks exactly the same as she would have done the first day you met her. I don't know how long ago that was for you, but it would have been a very long time ago, I imagine. And she's just standing there looking at you, running over her hands one of these coins that she would have picked up. She was a coin collector, a sort of silver looking thing.
As she does, she had quite the array before she left. And I'm sure she likely has many more. Regardless, if I see her here in this place, the first thing I do is I take my right leg and I step backwards. My back arches forwards maybe about 20-30 degrees in a slight bow. And I think upon recognizing this person, I see her eyes connect, and then my eyes shift to the left and never look back to her face again, and I simply say, "Seeker Ralva, what are you doing in a place like this?"
Her one eye kind of looks you up and down, but the way that she's standing is so casual. I don't think really you ever saw her stand in this way. She was a lot more formal in the time that you knew her, but she sort of very casually stood there. She doesn't really mimic any of the classic drow ways. And she says,
"Do you know I never became a Luminite?"
Oh?
That was where I went. I wanted to impress you and the others. I always felt that I was behind everyone else. You are also skilled.
Skilled. It's not like you to be humble.
Well, death has changed me.
she starts walking up and down. As she does so, the tattoos on her skin begin to glimmer as if she was in moonlight, even though the daylight continues to move over her skin. She says,
"There's none of us left anymore. You are the last seeker."
I figured. Although, perhaps maybe for a brief moment I was perhaps a little bit excited and disappointed. My eyes shift back to hers again, then away.
her one eye fixes you again as you kind of look and then look away.
So you're dead.
Almost everyone is dead. You know Megwandir is dead.
Oh no.
Can you imagine how it would have been to see such a giant creature fall?
No, I cannot. Of all the Driders there at the tower, I wasn't sure anything could kill Migwandir. Favored as he was in his folly. Then again, I was told that an angel, the shape and size of a sun sitting above a city, was fallen as well, so I suppose anything is possible.
What are you doing, Seer?
Ha 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 ha. Well, that's a funny question. Believe it or not, I was on my sojourn, and now, well, perhaps until quite recently, I thought I was on a quest to save the world. At present, I am unsure.
Do you have such power?
Do I have such power? No, of course not.
No.
However, I believe I have learned in quite a short amount of time that it's not necessarily about the individual. Up until maybe about a few moments ago, I thought perhaps maybe we had the power. Who knows?
You are referencing the Quura, the mark you have been bestowed?
This blessing. So in death you have this knowledge then? It's not something I ever read about?
It is something I learned of on my own sojourn, but I do not think it is going to be enough. I do not think that you or your compatriots are going to be strong enough. Your plans are to use the wizard. There have been so many wizards and they are all dead.
With all due respect, Seeker, this one is not.
Why?
Well, a good question. Again, because of us. I do feel as if, but perhaps maybe, just maybe goes both ways. If he can get past his ego. You seem to maybe perhaps have a better plan, or are you just here to sow discord?
I do not wish to sow discord. There is no time for such things. There is another way. There are creatures in this world that are still alive, that are not quite mortal. Beings that are stronger, that could stand against this thing that threatens to destroy what remains of our world.
Not quite mortal. What exactly do you mean, Seeker?
You stand in this forest. Interesting. I never knew of a place like this until now. The creatures here are fey, not quite mortal, not quite angel, but there are others, elemental beings. There are demons, devils, and fiends. There are a few that could become strong enough if you were to lend them your aid. I think you have run out of ideas. I think you are grasping at straws for ideas. And I think you need to come up with a better plan. The creature is too strong. You will not be able to punch it. Your wizard can only delay the inevitable. But what if you were to empower one of these other creatures and strengthen it enough that it might smite this thing out of the sky? Fight fire with fire.
Well, if I do find a demon, a devil, or something not quite alive in this wave of death that is now our world, perhaps maybe we'll give it a shot. However, my eyes flit back to Seeker Ralva. Habitually, they don't meet her eye. However, I just say this. You are dead. Yes?
Yes.
Then how is it you are talking to me?
I wish I knew. There was something calling to me in the moments before I was killed in the small village I was in as the wave of death pushed across those hills. The people, such friendly people, dwarves who had taken me in. I was a little hurt. They patched me up. They showed me their things. You would have liked them. Their artifacts were new, smart. I think perhaps they would have changed our world. And then the sky turned dark. The creatures came first. And then him, like a dragon, but more. I ran, not to face it, but with the village. We fled, and that was it. I remember no more until I heard the call, like a song. And then I sought. What else do we know? So I looked. And I listened until I found you. Here, in this strange place.
Strange indeed. Do I trust these words, DM?
It's entirely up to you. You can make me an insight check if you would like.
A 12.
12. She seems different. She seems, she doesn't seem very much like her old self. But it's kind of hard to distrust what she's saying. What she's saying seems to be truthful. But there's an element to it that's odd, but you are kind of speaking to a ghost. You can make me an investigation check, though.
Investigation. Before I make this roll, you mentioned before she was standing lags.
She's standing like a human would, or an elf or something, like a non drow elf.
I stand distrustingly with a natural 1.
Another one. Yeah, I mean, she seems to be different and changed, but does seem to be kind of being truthful. It does seem like her, the way that she's speaking, the things that she knows.
Death truly must have changed you, I say with a narrowed squint. Again, not meeting her eye. And how do you propose that we empower such a being?
Death has changed me. In life, I could not see very well. I could not hear very well. But in death, I have another sense. I have something else. It calls to me. A being. We need only provide this being with power. And we can swat this bothersome fly. Will you help?
Does this being have a name?
It is I do not know.
It is not like for one of us to simply not know.
I can only help in a limited capacity. I think I bring this to you because there is no one else. But I bring this to you because I know I can trust you. Your party. Can you trust them? I get bad feelings about two of them. One is a killer. The other, he seeks only to fix this problem alone. And the last, believe her to be good-natured, but she puts all of her faith into these angels when it is one of them that is doing this to us. There is no reason to trust them. I only trust you, and if you trust me, perhaps we can come up with something else. Something that can kill or at least hurt this thing before it is too late.
I think when she utters the word trust a second time, I throw a dart at her.
Yeah, make me an attack roll.
20.
Yeah, where are you aiming at?
Natural. Set to mass.
You launch this thing, and it hits the tree behind her. It goes straight through her. She's just incorporeal. She looks down and looks up at you and says,
Why?
A fanged smile crawls across my face. And I simply say, dead or not, you would never use such a word.
She smiles. As she does so, her skin cracks and burns, the form of Ralva giving way to a person that you would never have seen before. We have seen before. the demonic entity, Anaware, the sort of, again, kind of like a human, with horns, slightly pointed, almost elven ears, and then parts of her skin sort of crack and harden into scales and like leathery, thick-looking skin. It almost looks like a dress, but it's just like parts of her body that shift and change. The form of Ralva gives way, wings leathery and tucked behind her, and these two long legs that come down to what at first appear to be a set of high heels, but you recognize a moment later to be just sort of cloven feet. This demonic presence before you with yellow eyes peering at you with this huge smile over her face, looks at you and says,
The offer still stands. You could make me so much stronger.
Could I now? I say, my smile creeping a little bit wider than normal.
Your friend's plans are folly. Nothing has hurt Mordriel yet. You're just the last of many Quura.
And why, pray tell, should I help someone like yourself, who sees fit to stalk someone walking alone to implore for help?
Because I have the power to kill him. I can destroy him before he destroys me. I don't care about you. I don't care about them. I care about me, and you can bank on that. Help me, help yourself.
And why, pray tell, would I help someone like yourself? Someone who is, well, I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Your selfish goals do help to save the world, but what is in it for me?
Your life. You're going to die.
Now or later.
Everyone is going to die then.
Then I suppose I shall see you in hell. You seem rather quite accustomed to it. I look to her horns.
That I am.
she fades from your vision.
Oof. That gas.
Cirrus. What are you doing?
Yeah. Well, I went to look for Seer. So I left Jildan at the mirror in order to go find Seer.
Give me a perception check.
Okay. I'm sure nothing untoward will happen to me. 19.
19. You can hear Seer pretty clearly talking to himself. A little ways away, you kind of move into the forest area. You can hear him saying something like, "And why would helping you help me?" or something like that, as you kind of catch him having this one-sided conversation. You start moving sort of forward. You're catching some of this in the surface thoughts way as well as you get closer to him. You like round a large grove of trees, and you see Seer kind of blink a couple of times as if he was kind of looking at something, and it just went away.
Seer?
I turn to Cirrus. My smile doesn't dissipate. Oh, Cirrus. And how are you?
Inside check. Inside check.
Okay. What are you trying to insight him for?
Well, he was just talking to someone, and then he turns to me and he's smiling at me.
Yeah. But
It's
what,
very
what,
weird.
What are you,
Smile.
what are you concerned about? Like, what are you? What's the insight check?
What is he concealing from me
Okay.
about what just happened?
Yeah. All right.
With his little drow grin over here. 14. Meh.
14. Yeah, I'll leave it up to you, Myre.
Okay.
He says he's just genuinely happy to see you.
I look just genuinely happy to see you.
He looks genuinely happy to see you.
However, I also perhaps don't necessarily look as put together as you may have generally come to expect from my company.
All right.
Yeah, there is something a little off here, but I mean, sometimes I think maybe
Okay.
this just happens with Seer anyway, though, right? He sometimes is
Yeah.
a little odd.
He's got like 12 eyes that are looking all over the place.
Yeah.
8 eyes.
He's got 36
got
eyes that
36
are
eyes.
just. Everything all right?
I wonder. I walked away to clear my head, but I seem to perhaps maybe have done the opposite.
What do you mean?
Oh, you know, this place. All sorts of things. All manner of shapes you may see around the corner sometimes.
Seer's eyes turn entirely black as he looks up at you. The two eyes, not the additional spider eyes, they turn entirely black as you're looking at him. But carry on, Seer.
Why? What's the matter?
Inside check. Inside check.
Okay, roll me an insight check.
I am 26.
Make me a wisdom saving throw.
Okay. 10.
Blood starts running down the sides of his mouth and down his chin, dripping off in places, landing on his like tunic and chest. Seer just continues as if this isn't happening, by the way.
You weren't worried about little old me, were you? All the way out here.
I take a couple of steps backwards.
I take a couple steps forwards. Very odd place, this.
Is it?
Isn't it just?
What don't you like about it?
It's here, but it's not quite here. Things we see in this place, you know. Do they really exist? Are they really... Does it matter? I dig a heel into the dirt. This grass is alive, but... should we be in the other place? Well, it's not. So is it alive or dead, and does it matter if I drive my heel into it, I wonder? What do you think?
Do you want to drive your heel into it?
I already have. It's just grass.
Did you like it?
Not particularly, it's just grass. Why? Do you have feelings about grass?
One can argue that everything is alive.
Even in death?
Even so.
Sirus? Sirus!
Jildan?
Get away from him! That is not Seer! You step away from him! Be careful! Get back right now! That is not Seer!
My dear
I
friend.
suspected. Dear friend.
Mm-hmm.
Leathery wings curl out from behind Seer and stretch out.
Look at him, he's a demon.
You're still there, Seer.
Oh, I see. I thought for a second you were to, Oh, these old things. I grabbed the stems of my wings and pulled them back, and they fly back up again, giving a small gust of wind to my two dear friends. What a
Sirus.
strange place we're in.
Sirus, he is the threat.
The thread.
Yes, Sirus, if you want any hope of any kind of future, we have to eliminate him. We have to get rid of him.
Come now, have I ever in our short yet seemingly so long time together ever been anything even
Sirus,
slightly like a threat?
think about how little you know of him. You don't even know who he is. He's never told us anything. We don't know even why he's here. Always so cagey, isn't he? Why? He's hiding things. He's been hiding this from us all this time. For what?
Well, it's a bit hard to get into places with things like this, you know. Didn't want to be the odd one out. The odd duck, I say, looking to her horn.
This isn't
I
Seer.
stand defensively between Seer and Cirrus. My staff pointed towards Seer. Yes,
It's not Seer.
it
I
hasn't been
take
Seer
two
for
more
a very
steps
long
towards
time.
them.
Horns start breaking through his skin, cracking his skin in a way that is very horrible, and that's when they grow out of his head like a twisted gnarled tree.
Seer is not a demon. I know the shape of him.
Quack, quack.
He's been compromised for so long, and none of us saw it. How did none of us see this? Of course.
Compromised.
Compromise? My dear, that word. How dare you use such a word? Compromise, compromising. It's you lot in that tower. I'm just a dear friend trying to help do the right thing, save the world.
No. You have been working against us all this time.
In
What
what
have you done with the
ways?
real Seer? Cirrus,
What would you have done with the real Seer if I wasn't the real Seer? Which, again, I am.
Cirrus, think about it all these times. Has he helped you? No. He's been quite happy to sit back and watch you die.
Has she died?
I would like to roll an insight on Jildan.
Okay.
Nine. This is a natural one. Okay.
Yeah, there is. I mean, that's the real Jildan, and she's
That's
telling you
Jildan,
that's,
yeah.
and in front of you is like not the real.
The real
Seer.
Seer. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Cirrus, is everything quite the matter with you? You're more peaky than usual.
His skin is like cracking and scaling over his body, getting leathery.
What's the
Alright.
matter? You're
Tell me
sweating.
about-
You don't usually sweat.
So,
Cirrus?
Seer, you can tell me about the eyes of the Father.
Eyes of the father. What? I tilt my head again. And
Seer's
what's wrong
left
with you?
hand is starting to coalesce a little bit of energy, as if he's quietly about to cast a spell on either you or Jildan.
Don't you dare, you fiend. Don't you dare. You leave her alone. You leave her alone.
Oh,
I will prepare.
My staff crackles with lightning.
I will. Can I prepare a spell and then when he, if he does something, I can cast it then?
Yeah.
Like you would prepare a an attack or such? Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of do that.
Prepares.
Holding an
Yeah,
action is kind of what you're doing.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna hold an action.
What is it?
If he were to attack, I would drop Aura of Purity.
Okay. I don't know what that is, but okay.
Yeah, I'll post it so you can see it. It basically just like an energy radiates around me, and it means that can't become diseased, poison damage, advantage against effects of blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, and stunned.
Okay.
Have you eaten today, or has this place just rinsed you of your senses like that orc?
That orc.
Yes, Thrakk, that orc. Our friend. Well, I mean,
Listen to
the
him.
last friend who choked me would. Anyway, I digress.
Stoking division this whole time. There's only one way that this can be stopped. There's only one thing we can do.
No, I
Remove his
don't
head.
believe it. I don't believe it. I refuse. Something has
Look at
happened
you.
to him. He's under influence. This is not him.
I took her sword. It's the only way. We need to take his head. Make him bleed.
Children.
We should probably head back.
Head back where? To your little demon lair, so you can infect the rest of us too. You can stop Cirrus from doing what she was born to do. Is that what you want?
Cirrus, come on now. Let's go find Thrakk and the tower. I think I've been out here perhaps a bit too long.
It's awfully strange how he always has all the questions and none of the answers. Always knows how to worm his way into your mind, make you question what you think you know.
I'll
Why
tell
is
you
that?
about it later. Okay, I think perhaps maybe it's something maybe everyone needs to hear about.
Everyone needs to hear about what?
Exactly. I don't like repeating myself.
Yeah, so say it now.
We're not safe here.
Oh, why aren't we safe here, Seer? This is the safest place in all of Gaia. Tell me why we're not safe here.
Trust me.
Sirs, demons can survive anything. They can't survive you taking their head.
Seer is not a demon, Jildan.
Yes, he is. That is not Seer. That is not who you think he is.
Cirrus, do you trust Seer?
This is my personal nightmare, because I trust both of them, and I have committed to trusting both of them.
Yeah, but
Implicitly.
Specifically, do you trust Seer?
I would say mostly. I would say there is a percent. There's like a little 10 to 15% in the back of my mind.
That's a lot.
Usually that's like that's a lot?
This is a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like out of everyone here, Seer, I've always had a bit of a 10 to 15% concern, but I have tried to swallow it.
I was aiming for
know?
25 at least.
Make me wisdom saving throw.
I want you to know that if this is for real happening and this is actually Seer, my world is ending. 10. No.
You have a +8 to your whiz saves,
I have a
Ooh.
+8.
by the way.
I
Rolls
know.
are making this one spicy.
Okay, let me roll a dice. Yeah, no, this is the real Jildan next to you, and Seer in front of you is some other thing, some sort of
Yeah, okay.
demon creature.
Serious, I've had way too much of this place.
His
Can we
ears are
please go?
bleeding.
His mouth is still bleeding.
His mouth is bleeding. His ears are bleeding. His eyes are black. He's got leathery wings. His skin is cracked and twisted.
I fall to one knee. Sirus, please. He's been plaguing me all of this time. I can't take any more. Please. End it. End it.
Something is happening to
God.
Jildan. He has this kind of energy coalescing around his hand.
Okay.
So if you want, you can cast your Aura of Purity if you think this is what is happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll cast Aura of Purity.
Okay, so 30 foot of purifying energy radiates from you. Until the spell ends, the aura moves with you. Each non-hostile creature in the aura, including you, can't become diseased, has resistance to poison damage, and has advantage on saving throws against effects that cause any of the following conditions: blinded, charmed, deafened, paralyzed, frightened, poisoned, and stunned. Okay. Yeah, this doesn't seem to do anything.
What are you doing?
She just starts glowing, but it doesn't seem to affect either Jildan or Sia or anything else that might be nearby.
Okay.
What's the light
I just
show
want to.
for,
Okay.
Cirrus?
I just want to clarify. I'm pretty sure this is not Seer, based on the roll I just did. He's doing something to Jildan. I am going to cast a guiding bolt at him.
Okay.
I'm entering combat with him.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't. Well, yeah.
Suddenly, Sia, you see Cirrus whirl up a piece of magic that you've seen her cast before. She suddenly unleashes a guiding bolt. This bolt of radiant energy launches towards where you are. Now, a 12 is not going to hit you, I'm assuming.
No. Is it an attack spell? In which case, no, it does not hit me.
Correct, yeah. Sia, I guess, just dodges. He just suddenly jumps out of the way of this thing. It strikes the ground. You see these wings beat once, and suddenly he kind of blurs. Now he's behind Jildan. Close to where Jildan is. Sia, if you want to do anything now, you can.
Right. In which case, I have another hand up, and I'm just like, listen, I don't know what's going on with you, but we don't have time for this. Cirrus. Come now.
Can I look into his eyes one last time? Please.
Yeah, make me an investigation check.
Investigation. Okay. Yeah. Oh, great. This is not gonna go well. Can I investigate with my heart and soul?
No, you already tried that.
5.
Ooh.
I mean, it's confusing. So there's it's weird.
Okay. Here's what I think, okay? I think he doesn't know what's going on. He's not Seer, but there is a Seer somewhere in there who doesn't have an idea of what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I may be wrong, and this may just be that I am just trying to have faith against all odds, but that's what I think. So I'm gonna say, Seer, do you know what's happening to you? Do you see the wings? The blood?
I look to myself.
Your eyes are
and
black.
I say, I look like my usual God's given self. What are you talking about?
You don't see your wings. The blood touch your face. God's given.
What? Cirrus, you're talking a whole lot of... What?
Who is your God, dear?
Cirrus, why don't you believe me? Cirrus.
I believe you, Jildan. I believe
So why isn't he dead yet? He's already... You don't understand what he's done.
Who are you talking to?
I glance back towards where Thrakk was, where we left him.
Yeah, I mean, this
don't
is going on pretty simultaneously to while Thrakk was doing the first scene,
Oi,
communing with nature, and Jildan is talking to the mirror, the last scene from last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where
Hold
do you
on.
think this
Just
been?
want to pause you there. You just said simultaneously Jildan is talking to the mirror.
Yeah.
That's like GM knowledge
Maybe.
out of character.
You look at
Okay,
Jildan again
alright.
and her eyes roll back into the back of her head. Her face splits open like someone just cracked a melon, and what sits underneath the skin is another face looking out at you from this horrible, grotesque, twisted version of Jildan's split face. Jildan's hands come up and they transform into the bear form hands, and she rips her own skin off, peeling her own body off of another figure standing before you. A demonic looking woman, sort of humanoid, looks a bit like a human. A horrible, cracked, dark, leathery skin in parts of her that almost looks like a dress, but when you take a closer look, you recognize that it's skin, cloven feet, wings, yellow eyes, kind of peering back at you, smiling. She says,
Oh, you're no fun. I thought you'd be the most difficult one to break, to be honest.
You
I
didn't
think I
break
got
me.
close. Really? Maybe not today. But what about when you were talking with the river of blood? Almost killed someone for me then, didn't you?
she vanishes.
Oi, Cirrus.
Seer looks completely normal.
Are you good? Not philosophically, but are you okay?
I put my hand to the earth and I would like to commune with the ground
Okay.
and feel where the fuck this bitch went.
I mean,
What are
yeah,
you doing?
you can try.
Like how can how can she be here? How can such a being?
Yeah, just
what
make
is-
me
yeah.
a straight wisdom check then.
Okay. $25.
Wow, natural 25. Sia, this whole thing is crazy from your perspective. She is doing the weirdest things. Jildan never shows up. You know, she's just like freaking out and she's doing all this weird stuff. At one point she launches a guiding bolt at you and you kind of have to dodge out of the way of it. And then her eyes refocus for a moment. She reaches down, puts her hand to the ground, and you recognize, as you're watching this, you see in this kind of magically attuned area of the world. Remember, there is like bits of like mana floating through the air and sparkling. You can literally physically reach out and touch the sparkles of mana if you wished. As you see her hands touch with the ground, you see the grass bend inwards towards her hand. You see the elements of mana around her kind of shift. Bits of almost like rain stopping in the middle of the air. Parts of this energy just pause around Cirrus for a moment. Cirrus, you just sort of become one with this area. You know, it's a thing that you can only do this by feel. There is no science behind this. There's no logic. There's no you're not doing. This isn't a skill that you've trained. This is something that you've either figured out how to do through deep meditation, or maybe it was when you touched the mana pool, and or maybe it's just divine intervention. You're actually pulling from your angel. But in this one place, as soon as you touch this ground here, everything makes sense to you. You look about, you can see the energy of this area, and you're not probably even physically looking around, by the way. This is almost, you're probably out of your body right now. This is almost like an astral projection thing. You can see just life energy flowing through Seer. You can see every single tree for miles around just pulsing with arcane energy. You can see just rivers of mana running endlessly underneath the ground and washing over everything here. You can see Thrakk through the trees as he stands up and starts making his way back towards the mirror. You see Hard moving outwards elsewhere towards this weird pulsing tower with just this kind of odd energy signature coming off of it. You can see the mirror, the angel. It's almost impossible to look at. It would be the equivalent of being blinded to look at this thing directly. You can see Jildan kind of meandering around nearby. And you can see that the creature that you're looking for is not physically here. But you see its energy signature. You see something. You see a corruption in this divine energy, or in this natural energy. There is a thing that is like a trace of and fading of almost a spell or an ability that this creature has to invade one's senses. As this spell fades from you, you can see traces of it on Seer. You can see traces of it on the outline of Jildan. This creature is a cousin of the Fae here. There's a twisted version of the Fae stag you're looking at. It's a twisted version of the energy that forms around that tree. But it is darker and, for all intents and purposes for the word, evil version of the much more natural or potentially good energy that you might feel here. This being is simply just a twisted Fae. It is a fiend. It is a thing that exists elsewhere. It is somewhere else in the world. It has a distinct connection to Jildan. Jildan is the back door that is letting this thing in. The Quura symbol is how it is like a disease transmitting itself amongst you, and it's permeating through you as a group. However, you've snapped out of it. Cirrus snapped out of it. This creature cannot continue to invade your senses for some time. Once you kind of recognize it, and once you manually expel this creature, it'll take some time for it to potentially be able to try and do this to you again. You might be more aware of it next time, you might not, but this is what this creature does. It is a creature that is parasitic in nature. It is a parasitic fiend that haunts people, haunts their nightmares, gets in, corrupts them, twists them, lies to them, and manipulates them to do its bidding. You understand that?
Okay.
But it isn't here right now.
Yeah. While I'm like connected to all of this, and I see that Jildan is the back door. And now I would remember that we were speaking to the mirror when Hod relayed to us back the fact that Elneas was a fiend, in fact, and had been this fiend that had been haunting Jildan. So I sort of like my eyes are wide open, but I'm not here. And I'm kind of feeling all of these threads like a living source through everything. And I whisper to it, Cut the cord. Purge the dark. Eradicate the fiend. Purify yourself. And I'm asking it to sever that connection between Jildan and this fiend, so it cannot find her or us again.
Okay, let me... You know what I'm going to do for you here? Because you rolled a natural 20. I love a natural 20. So, roll me a wisdom check, just a straight wisdom check.
Oh god, no way, dude.
Natural 1. What you get is this. You try and compel this creature to cut its tie from Jildan. And you hear, and you come out of this attunement with nature in this moment. Okay.
I'm so sorry, can
No.
I interrupt you?
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to ask the creature, the fiend, to cut its own cord.
Right.
I was trying to ask the forest
To do it.
of light to do it for, yeah.
Okay.
But still, I mean, I still rolled a 1.
Yeah, I mean, you still rolled a 1. The forest has no real way to do this.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. But the thing is, here's the thing: on a 1, the answer is the same. You just went a different way about it. So the creature, the fiend, Anawari, responds and says,
No. And that's not up to me.
You recognize that there is a pact that has been formed between Jildan and the creature. As you are leaving this attunement with nature, you see another energy moving towards Jildan. Sort of a fiendish, elemental energy, cold, as it moves across the water, awkwardly towards where Jildan is standing. And then you're back in your body again.
I run to where Jildan is.
Okay. Jildan.
Oi, Cirrus! Cirrus! I run after her.
You have this conversation with Myre that it turns out to be with the demon, the conversation that happened at the end of the last session we did. At the end of that conversation, you sort of turn away from this Myre, and as you turn around, there is a thing in the water behind you, in this kind of very low pool of water. Around where this creature is, the pool is freezing and turning to sort of very thin ice. It's a creature that you recognize, a creature that you saw some time ago that moves towards you. Blue skin, impish, large blue eyes. Parts of its body are literally icicles as this thing is kind of awkwardly moving across the water towards you. The creature has these little wings on its back. It's no more than like 2 feet tall, as it kind of awkwardly shuffles its way across the water towards you. You recognize it as Wriggle, this little weird creature. A long time ago, when you guys were first meeting, you had been asked to investigate that some food stores had been stolen, and people suspected it was like goblins or something like that. The 4 of you went out to discover what it was. You traced this back to this kind of impish creature that was essentially doing this for attention. You gave it attention, It gave you, it sort of found you all weirdly fascinating, and then you left it. You left this creature alone. Wriggle is moving across the water towards you, and as his feet and hands touch the water, you see he is looking past you and at the mirror. And as he moves across the water, he says,
The bad rigger is in there.
he looks at you for the first time and stops, maybe 10 feet away from you.
At first, I jump away as I notice his presence. I recognize him, yes.
Yeah.
I recognize him from all that time ago.
It would have been like a year ago.
What the hell are you doing here? How did you get out this way?
His head
Oh.
cocks like a dog, but he's actually kind of just looking past you at the mirror.
I poke at him with my staff. I'm too used to that fiendish being that didn't really exist. I don't trust this thing.
Yeah, you poke at him and he kind of he looks at you. He bares his teeth, these little rows of teeth. A few of them are kind of missing. You recognize that some look like bone colored and some are like icicles in his teeth. He hisses.
Why are you hitting riggers?
It's just not. I wasn't hitting you. It's just curious. I didn't know you were real. Are you? That's impossible. How did you get here? Can I hear his thoughts? The same way I can hear everything else.
You can a little bit.
What?
Yeah.
What's he thinking?
He is obsessed with the fact that the bad Wriggle is in the mirror behind you. He's terrified of it. And then you hit him and he's confused and hurt as to why you would hurt him.
I awkwardly sort of reach a hand down to pat, but then sort of stop myself and yes.
Even getting close, like you get the sense, it's like putting your hand near a freezer. How cold he is to be near.
God, you're awful, aren't you? I turn to the mirror and don't quite look at it, but sort of glance the space between it and the mirror. What do you mean evil? Bad Wriggle. What do you mean? In there? How do you know? And I recall back to when we did go and find Wriggle, and he was on a mirrored surface.
There was a little
Wasn't he?
mirror, yeah. So there was a little mirror that he had all these objects that he'd stolen over the years, and one of them was a mirror. He claimed that there was a bad Wriggle in the mirror that would come out sometimes and do bad things. You never saw anything like that. He just said that.
It's the same bad Wriggle as the one in your cave.
There's a bad rigger in there.
But he's not coming out. He's stuck in there, see? I sort of walk over and I tap the mirror without looking at it with my cane. Dong dong.
Yeah, I mean, and nothing happens. There is your reflection. There's the little reflection of Wriggle kind of looking out from behind your shell, and behind you, in the distance, coming from the other side of the meadow, and it's not a large meadow, so you're well within range. Cirrus and Sirus come through the tree line, wandering over. Cirrus and Sirus are kind of running. Thrakk is moving with purpose from another side, from a kind of more northwestern side. He comes wandering over as well. The three of you break through the tree line and see Jildan. Jildan with the little weird imp creature that you'd found in Moon like a year ago, Wriggle.
Jildan, are you alright?
Yes, it's perfectly fine. Just stay back if you value your toes, though. He's quite the cold little thing, aren't you?
Oh, I like the cold.
Yes. Yes, I can see it likes you as well. What are you? Oh, you found Seer, I see. Good job.
We can always find Seer.
He says as if you were speaking to him, which you weren't.
I frown at him.
I frown at both
How?
of them.
How do you do that, then,
Wriggle knows where you are. Wriggle finds you. That's what Wriggle does.
What about Bad Wriggle? Can he find us?
Wriggle looks past you to the mirror. He takes a few steps towards it and then steps into the mirror. The mirror kind of ripples and he's gone.
Huh. Well, that's not good.
I don't know. I
We have
thwack
to leave.
Thrakk in the shin with my cane.
Ah, we have to leave.
Yes, seems to be obvious.
What's happened?
Odril, he wants to kill me. He's not trying to destroy this place. He's coming for me. We have to go.
Why you in particular?
I don't know.
All right, let's go then.
If we
Yeah,
go,
Put through.
perhaps he won't come here.
We've put this place through too much danger. Is there a way that we can lure Mordriel somewhere else for the time being?
Yes, I
before
was thinking of that. If we go somewhere else with the tower, perhaps we can let him know where we are, avert him, and then move the tower again.
All right.
Just running from one place to the next.
We run for now until we know what to do next.
Still don't know where the
But
spear
isn't
is.
that... That is what this place was supposed to tell us. Tell you. You were supposed to learn. And we didn't. And where else is there to learn now? Where do we go from here?
We learned
think
some. If we didn't come here, we wouldn't have known where he came from. We have much more knowledge now than we did before. Not make this sound like it was a wasted trip.
That is not what I said.
Regardless, it's likely for the best we do leave, as not all company here, I think, has our best interests in mind.
No.
What was that creature you were talking to? And how did it go through the mirror? Do we know what that is?
He's been following us. This whole time. Somehow. But he just... And I turned to the mirror that he just stepped through. How is that possible? I tried to step through the mirror.
Yep, solid.
Boom. Ugh.
They're saying kingmakers.
Hey, are you in there? Hey, Wriggle! Stop hanging on it.
Wriggle's
We have
head,
seen this creature before.
You have. Wriggle's head pokes through and looks up at you and says,
The bad Wriggle's in here.
So what are you doing? Why are you in there with him?
I don't know.
he steps out, crawling out from the thing. The mirror kind of weirdly rippling, like as if a stone had been thrown into a pool of water.
How are you doing that?
That's what Wriggle does.
Where is the bad Wriggle? Wriggle?
Don't ask the mirror. Ask Wriggle.
In the
No, I'm
mirror.
asking Wriggle.
Right.
What's on the other side of the mirror, Wriggle? What does it look like?
It looks like a mountain.
Is everything dead there?
I don't know.
He steps through the mirror.
Wait, go back!
few
Hang on.
seconds pass. He steps back through.
Yes, everything is dead.
Mirggles, can you take me with you? And
What?
It just steps into the mirror. That's what it does.
He steps into the mirror.
I said, get back here! I'm not finished with you. Come back here.
Steps back through. And then he beckons you.
It steps into the mirror.
And then it
I-
steps in.
Press my hand against it to try and show him, and I can't.
Yeah. Your hand just touches the thing. He's gone for another few seconds. And he climbs back through.
We can't. Mirggles, we can't go through there. Only you can.
Pure confusion just coming out from his thoughts. He has no concept that you cannot just step through the mirror. It's just that everyone can do it. He can't comprehend that you can't do it. He has very basic surface thoughts. He doesn't seem to be a very intelligent creature. He's like a dog. Just thinking about what's happening right now. He's just thinking bad mirror, seer. He says he knows all of your names. He's like, you can hear him. He knows who all of you are, and you get the sense that he's just always following you.
Wriggle.
Yes.
Where was the first time you went to see the bad Wriggle? Where was that?
I don't like to go and see the bad Wriggle.
Do you feel that you have to?
No, the bad Wriggle comes to see me.
You and this bad Wriggle, as you so call him, do you ever talk to one another?
The bad Wriggle hurts Wriggle. He doesn't speak. He bites and tears and scratch.
Ah,
I'm sorry, Wriggle. That's scary.
gonna roll a
I look
personal roll
to-
here. Oof, my rolls are so bad.
I look at everyone and I say, perhaps Wriggle can go to the first Gaia.
Excellent work. I think Wriggle here might be an angel of some sort.
No, Fiend.
A fiend.
Some kind of fiend. But
That would make sense if this other Wriggle lives in the other Gaia without a soul. Or apparently mortals live without. If other Wriggle doesn't talk but simply attacks. I had the same
Right.
thought.
I squat down. Wriggle,
Yes.
would you like to come with us?
Wriggle's already with us.
All right, well. you think
Why?
you can keep
Why?
being with us?
Why is he with us?
Wriggle follows.
Why? Why are you following us?
Wriggle doesn't. You get the sense that he doesn't understand the question, but you also get the sense that he's just compelled to follow you.
I think he can track us with these. I point to the Quura symbol on my arm.
There
I
is
think it allows him.
one other manner of being that can follow us and has been following us. I don't know if Sia, talking out of character now, is capable of being able to tell if something is alive or dead. Or undead. Am I? Do you-
I mean, you can tell in as much as we would be able to tell what a zombie is, unless you mean by in the same way that like Cirrus can do it.
I turn to Cirrus. You're able to find out or tell if something is dead, right? Dead, or like that one blood-sucking chap, right?
Yes.
I not so subtly cock my head towards Wriggle.
I kind of raise an eyebrow and look at Wriggle. Is Wriggle a dead creature, an undead fiend?
Do you have an actual ability or a spell that lets you
I don't think
do this?
I actually don't think I do. I could just,
Yeah.
cast turn undead and see what happens. And hope that he doesn't have a CR level of 1 and gets auto destroyed.
Yeah, then I don't know if you know that, but you did sort of connect with nature a little while ago, and he had the light within him that everything else here had, which I think gives you the sense that he is a fiend and an elemental.
Yeah, okay.
But he is not necessarily an undead.
Yeah, okay. He's not undead.
Alright, well, I suppose that at least crosses out the possibility of being like that chap we met in the tower that one day.
Right. I think... Wriggle, if you would like to continue joining us, that would be good.
Thus, he doesn't know what that means exactly. He's been with you the whole time.
Yeah.
Thrakk,
I look at... sorry.
make me an Arcana check.
Arcana is
With
normal
advantage.
for me.
Normal because, yeah, that's right.
Balanced out. A 30.
Damn.
Hey, we got a decent roll.
Do you want to know how Wriggle is doing this?
Yeah.
You are watching this whole thing happen. The first time that Wriggle goes into the mirror, it's curious, and he comes in, he goes out, he comes in, he goes out, and you're watching this happen. I think on a 30, you know everything really. The Wriggle can planeswalk. He can just do this. He can shift himself from one place to another. For some reason he's using the mirror, but you get the sense that he doesn't need to. He probably just thinks that's how he does it, but actually he could probably do this some other way. He is essentially pulling that one thread without... He's plucking that guitar string every time you see him do it. It's like, oh, he's plucking a C chord, is what it looks like to you. You're seeing him pull this one thread of the weave, and he's just accessing the ability to, for kind of teleport or shift himself from one plane to another. For some reason, he is able to do this, and it seems as though, I don't think you're necessarily aware of where he's going, but based on Cirrus's assumption, if he's able to do this, he is somehow just simply, very easily flipping to the other Gaia and then coming back. On top of that, you, I think, now understand. You can now see that weave, that thread. Which means, if you would like, you can now use the tower to fast travel anywhere in Gaia, and also potentially use the tower to shift to the other Gaia, because you have now seen it happen under the law of you've seen it happen. So now you understand the superposition of the tower's
I've
magic.
seen seen the river,
essentially
the river of magic flow.
the wizard
Okay,
that was going to teach you how to do this.
Is Wriggle.
Was Wriggle. Something has shown you how to do it. You have observed it.
I'm gonna.
It doesn't mean you don't have a manual exactly, but
Right.
you've observed this happening. So now you have potential access to it, at least on the wave.
But I know I need the tower to do it.
The tower is a time machine. It is a spaceship. You know what I mean? Like it's the conduit.
Right. Yeah.
It's the thing that you need to be in. The
I'm gonna
TARDIS.
try something. I'm gonna take a knee and is Wriggle on our side of the mirror right now, or is he still in there?
Yeah, he's just sitting at your feet.
I'm
He's probably
take a knee
scratching his
to-
ear like a dog with his leg.
To Wriggle, and I'm gonna pat my shoulder and offer him a ride.
Absolutely no way he knows what that means. He just looks at your shoulder.
Do you want to get on, Wriggle?
On to you?
On my shoulder.
Never,
here.
no one has ever offered anything like this to Wriggle before. He has no.
To be able to see from high up. Come, have a look at what the world looks like.
He leaps, and it
6.5
is
feet.
terrifying. You know how bats fly, where they just spasmodically propel themselves through the air? It's not really flying. He does that at you, and his
What noise
claws.
does he make, GM?
He lands on your shoulder, front ways, with his back legs scratching at your chest, and he scrambles up.
Jeez. Oh, God.
It's freezing as well. He is so cold. It's like someone just putting an ice box on your shoulder. And it's awkward, but he
Okay,
kind of
that's
gets onto the
nice.
shoulder. His eyes are like wide. He's like freaking
Absorb
out.
elements.
You absorb
I
elements.
actually have the Yeti cloak on.
The Yeti cloak
so-
actually makes this much more bearable. Yeah, he settles in. He's like he's got like these really tiny little wings that look like they probably wouldn't actually allow him to fly, but they give him a little kind of boost. He can leap awkwardly and give himself a bit more. But yeah, he kind of awkwardly jumps onto your shoulder, and his claws and feet dig into you a little bit, but the Yeti cloak does all of the heavy lifting here.
I'm going to
His heart is beating so much.
look at him and say, "That's nice, isn't it?" And stand up.
That's nice.
Let's go see if Bad Wriggle is there, shall we?
Immediately shits himself. Fear pulsing through your head. He's a mention of Bad Wriggle. He glances at the mirror.
What does elemental shit look like, and is it cold running down his back?
Oh goodness.
Well, he's not an
Goodness me.
elemental. He's a well, we don't know.
He
what
is. He's
I
a
suppose.
fiend elemental. He is a
Okay.
two.
I was asking the DM.
He's a two.
I see it.
Yeah, he has two. It's illegal.
Chocolate-
Welcome to my
Chocolate
campaign.
ice cream.
He has two.
Soft
Very
serve comes down.
Oh.
Thrakk's back.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
it's delicious.
God.
Yeah. Okay. And you're
Straight from
heading
the broken McDonald's
to.
machine.
You're heading to the tower.
I just wanna. I just. Well, seeing his fear, I say, no, never mind. We don't need to see Bad Wriggle, but do you want to see if the mirror works?
Yes.
Has no idea what you're asking him.
Okay. Let's go through, and then I'm gonna start walking forward, kind of like
Into
to
the
see
mirror.
if I can walk through with him.
Yeah. You just strike the mirror.
Oh fuck! Sometimes experiments don't go the way
He's
you
like
expect.
puzzled.
Yeah, and then I say, well, we should go. And then I say the tower is to the north.
Okay.
Right.
Do you say anything to that, or do I just start walking away?
I cross my arms at him and follow once he moves.
Yeah, I nod and I follow.
A trail far behind.
Okay. There was a part of me that was pretty convinced Jildan wasn't coming. Yeah, we see the four of you sort of move around the side of this mirror as you step out from the sort of pool of water and move off into the canopy. The camera pulls back and we see like a leathery wing, kind of translucent leathery wing sitting there watching you leave as the demon watches each of you go. And that is where we're going to end our session today. We will come back next time to see what you're up to. I wanted to end it like that, but then also announce the fact that we're going to be playing another D&D game this weekend. If you want to watch that, we are doing 3 weeks of another thing that I DM. I haven't actually run a session of this in like a year or something. It's been a long time since we last played.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. We're going to be running 3 sessions of our offline campaign, Oracle's Rest, that we've been playing for years now, which is weird to say. We have a D&D campaign that has a total, I think, 19 players or something like that. But they're not all showing up for this. I think it's going to be like 11 or 12, maybe. I'll go with...
Oh my god, really?
10. And that will be on this Saturday, August the 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern. August 10th at 3 p.m. Eastern here on Tablestory. And obviously the VOD will be up as well for that. So if you want to watch that, that'll be then. More D&D for you. You're welcome. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. We're going to go and record a green room thing, which you can go and watch all of those by becoming a member on our membership page. And that's it.
Also, don't forget, tomorrow is Watch Party in the Tablestory Discord. We're watching Nocturne episode 24.
Yeah, if you want to watch
5 p.m.
something
Eastern.
on Wednesdays, Orcish does a watch party for Tablestory shows. At the moment, it's Nocturne, so you can tune in. What time is it?
5 p.m. Eastern in the Tablestory Discord.
Bam. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Bye.